Welcome back to We Could Do It Better with Grant Koven.
And Jonah Maple.
We've got a fantastic episode lined up for you guys today. We are going over the DC universe, but not just that either. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff that we're going to go over. So yeah, we do time and weather, right? You know? No, okay. Sorry. We're still kicking it, and we're still pretty new at this. Anyways, we're gonna go right into multiverse of movies, because we've got a lot, and I've got a lot to talk about. So we'll get it kicked off. So Patrick Stewart has been rumored to return for Secret Wars, which is exciting.
Yes.
And this kinda is leading into another thing that I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
Really quickly.
For those of you who are not aware, Secret Wars is going to be the 2026 or 2027.
2026.
The 2026. No, because 2025. No, because 2026 is Doomsday. Sorry about this. Anyway, real
You're right. It's 2027. My bad.
Secret Wars. The name comes from two old Marvel Comics events. The first ever in 1985, like the first ever 1984. Big universe crossover. Marvel Superhero Secret Wars is a toy commercial that actually was good. And then in 2015, there's another universe event which Doctor Doom was in which Doctor Doom was the bad guy, and they're both very good. Especially the 2015 one. I think I've read it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The art's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the closest Marvel has ever come to a crisis. It's the closest they've ever gone.
It's one of the biggest crossover events.
Yeah,
in
the
Marvel
whole
history.
Yeah, the whole multiverse got destroyed and put back together, and that's when the Marvel Ultimate Universe, which is where a lot of what most people recognize about Spider-Man, the 21st century Spider-Man, came from.
Yeah. So with Patrick Stewart rumored to return for Avengers: Secret Wars, and so I went to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine again last week. Yeah, last week. I went to go rewatch it. And, I'm looking at the end of Deadpool and Wolverine. Spoilers are ahead. I mean, come on. It's been more than a month since the movie's released. But Deadpool and Wolverine both go back to their own timeline. Deadpool stays in his own timeline, which is kind of what the Fox universe kind of set itself up to be.
They have been always they've never been very clear. Their timelines have always been relatively complicated, especially if you're not used to that.
Sure.
I've made peace with it, but I'm used to DC timelines, which are in X-Men comic timelines, where people have which they make graphs in the books.
Yeah.
To explain the timeline.
Because it's a hard topic.
It still doesn't make sense. So, but I'm at peace with it. But anyway, the movie implies that the movies from the early 2000s is the same timeline as the Deadpool movies and the reboot movies.
Right. So
who knows if that's actually the case?
So in the first Deadpool movie, we saw that when he was in this was the second Deadpool movie. This was when Colossus had brought Deadpool back to the X-Mansion after he had blown himself up. We got to see James McAvoy's X-Men in a brief 2-second shot of just him closing the door, which makes it really weird because we already had a Beast in that. We saw a Beast in that. It was the Beast from First Class, Apocalypse, those kind of movies. But in Deadpool and Wolverine, they make it clear that Deadpool's universe is Earth, 10005.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Which just so happens to be the same universe as the end credits for the Marvels, where Monica and Maria Rambeau are reunited.
Did they? I forget because I've only seen the movie once. I liked it, but I've only seen it once. Does it say Earth 10005?
It's been a while, but everyone is saying that it is in fact Earth 10005, which means that there are currently two beasts roaming around,
Okay.
which kind of complicated. Whatever.
Well, okay. That gasp was because in comics there's an evil beast.
Well, sure, but this beast sure doesn't look evil in the Marvels. He looks very accommodating, and
yes, he acts like beast.
Monica and Maria Rambeau are both in what looks like the bottom of the X Mansion, getting treated by Hank McCoy.
Yeah. I just gasped because I like Dark Beast that's what he's called, is like a weird small character that's like, could it be that? And then upon reflection, I hope it's not that.
Right. Now here's where my insane theory is going. Hunter B-15, or at least formerly known as Hunter B-15 from Loki, tells Deadpool and Wolverine that their work's just begun. Yeah. All right, which is exciting to someone like me because that means more Deadpool and Wolverine for the future, hopefully. But by this, and with Secret Wars on the horizon, my theory is that Earth 10005 is going to collide with what Feige is calling Earth 616.
Yeah. Which on this show, we're just going to call the MCU because Earth 616 or 616 is what they've called the comics universe forever. Right. So I'm just going to call it the MCU.
So yes, because if you think about it, what I could completely see happening is if we're taking this from, the 2010s Secret Wars, I think that if you know anything about the beginning of Secret Wars, it's both worlds killed, they canceled each other out. Both of them exploded. So that makes me think that this is going to be the introduction to the MCU's hard reboot and a solid hard farewell to most of the Fox's X-Men.
Yeah.
And, you'll have that lifeboat that takes them to what I can only assume to be Battle World. So, we might have a handful of our original, heroes that we've had.
Yeah, but
we'll also have Doom probably make a Battle World if the Russo brothers make anything faithful to the comic.
Yeah, I don't see much point of doing Secret War. They could do... If they're naming it Secret Wars and they want to take inspiration from one of the two Secret Wars comics, yes, there is another Secret Wars that happened called Secret Wars 2 in the late 80s, but it was weird and about Jim Shooter thinking that he was God.
We really forget about that.
Jim Shooter thought he was God. But anyway, if they the 1984 or 1983 one would be a weird choice because it was literally just a toy commercial. It was a good toy commercial, but it was them just some god person sent them to a universe and said, all right, gods villains, heroes fight, and whoever wins goes home.
Yeah.
And it's just a silly toy commercial that's good. But the 2015 one is the end of a 8-year story that Jonathan Hickman was doing. There's this beautiful clash about good and evil and whether is it worth it to worth it to keep on going and to keep on doing good, or should you just surrender? And and it's phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of that.
But anyways,
that's the obvious choice.
I think that Secret Wars has the opportunity to it will end any problems that Marvel's had in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
It'll everything that was supposed to be hyped up and whether it was post-credit scenes or stuff that just didn't work out or like inconsistencies throughout the entire MCU.
Yeah.
Secret Wars has the ability just to fix all of it by destroying the MCU and making a new one.
Yeah, I'm of two minds with this, because on one of the great things about Marvel Comics is that there's no reboots.
Yeah.
And reboots can make. I don't want there to be a reboot because I want the stories, like I want like everything to matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if if they want to, if they just want to do that so that they can focus on, say, Young Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men for the next couple decades,
Yeah.
I think that works, because I'm
fine with that.
I don't think that having a reboot and like having a new Captain America, like a new Steve Rogers and like a new Iron Man and like
Marvel has
Peter
a huge
Parker.
roster to choose from. Like they've got other stories that need to be told.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We had great time with the Avengers, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
but like it's time for Marvel to finally have their X-Men play for themselves, and then have the Fantastic Four do things, and then like new teams that most people haven't even heard of can finally come into the spotlight,
Yeah, and maybe there's room for Young Avengers in there somewhere. I hope so, because I like Young Avengers.
Right.
I especially like Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And I like Miss Marvel is never usually part of the Young Avengers, but I assume that she will be in this. I like the Miss Marvel show.
Yeah.
And obviously if they get a good deal with Sony, they're going to want to do Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot more Spider-Man story. No Way Home is not the end of that Peter Parker story.
Yeah.
And I do think that they have more to say with Tom Holland.
So I think Holland definitely will be on that lifeboat.
Yeah.
If that's something the Russo brothers opt to choose to do. I mean, I would assume so, since that's a pretty big part of Secret Wars. Because I'm assuming they're going to adapt Hickman's Secret Wars.
Hope so. I mean, because Marvel, very few of their movies have been, or shows have been like
super faithful,
or just like some of them like take inspiration
from
different areas, but none of them are okay. Let's do this comic.
Yeah.
In the way that some X-Men movies and some DC movies have done, in a lot of adapting like V for Vendetta or like other like non-superhero comics usually do. All right.
So, anyways, that's my little Secret Wars theory.
Yeah. Moving on to Superman. Because we didn't talk about any DC stuff last week.
Yeah.
Because that was our Marvel episode, even though we just talked about Marvel this week. But you can't escape that with me and Grant. There's going to be a new Superman movie, originally titled Superman Legacy, but it's going to be Superman coming on July 11th of next year.
Yeah.
James Gunn is directing it. It looks like we've got a great cast so far.
I was initially worried that it was going to be too packed, because I'm hearing a lot of names that I recognize in terms of just like the roster of heroes or just characters in general. I'm like, is this going to be overstuffed? But I think if James Gunn knows how to do anything right, it's to tastefully balance a movie with a pretty decent sized roster like that.
There are a lot of superheroes that we know. There's gonna be a Mr. Terrific, which I'm super excited about.
He looks great. If you've seen the set photos, he looks exactly
There's been set photos of Mr. Terrific. He's kind of more like a C-list DC superhero, kind of like a Batman type. He's like very smart, and he's a crime fighter and all that.
Yeah.
And he looks phenomenal. He looks like his costume looks exactly like it does in that Tom King book.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm so excited. We're also getting the Authority, which I love the Authority.
But just the Engineer, right?
I thought, is it just the Engineer?
I just saw the Engineer in any of the set photos. I thought he just James Gunn took a massive group selfie with the cast, and everyone was accounted for, like that's supposed to be in the movie, but the only person from the Authority is the Engineer.
That's interesting. I like the engineer. I think that she's fun.
She can have a smooth transition, and she can introduce the rest of the authority for sure. Like,
yeah.
I think that might be the reason why she's there. She
Yeah.
can, and also I don't know if you've seen the specific set photo, but she's walking with Superman while he's in handcuffs, alongside what I can only assume to be Ultraman.
I forget that set photo exactly. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
Yeah.
we also know Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is going to be in that movie.
Which that looks good. I've seen his cut. I know you don't like it.
I very much appreciate that they're doing the Guy Gardner bowl cut. But
You don't
I
like
think-
Nathan Fillion as
I
Gardner?
like a lot of things for this movie.
I think he's got the face for it.
I'm excited, but I'm like, ooh, is that also a little bit scares me? Like these, like his costume. I love the trunks. Overall, I love it, but like, what does it mean that they're doing the Kingdom Come logo?
Right.
With like the
right.
straight edge. But like overall, like I am like 95% very excited. I love Superman. I like James Gunn movies. It seems like from what he's talked about reading and the way that he talked about the character,
Yeah.
he understands Superman in a way that he understands them better than most writers do in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Although like there have been some very good exceptions, like My Adventures with Superman, Josie Campbell and the people who worked on that, or Superman and Lois, Jeff Johns and all the people who worked on that. Like I think that they understand that character, but there's also been some not great examples like Zack Snyder.
And Hawkgirl does kind of upset me because, I mean, she's just wearing almost exactly what Guy Gardner is wearing, except it's just orange, black, and white.
I don't know.
I hope she gets her super suit at the end of the movie.
am excited enough to see Hawkgirl that, and all everything with Hawkgirl and Hawkman are so inconsistent that I do not care about costumes because
costumes
they're
are
never
everything to
never
me.
in the same costume. So I don't.
It's just when she looks a lot like Guy Gardner, I'm just like, come on.
Yeah.
That almost seems like lazy costume design.
Yeah, in terms of casting, I'm excited about David Cornsweet as Superman. I think he's got the looks down.
He looks great.
I've seen him like talk, but I don't think I've ever seen a movie.
Did you see the Clark Kent photo of him?
Yes, that
like
looked very
he looks
good.
just like straight out of the comics.
I'm very excited about Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane.
That's a good Lois Lane.
We've had good Lois Lanes before, like once again Superman
Amy
and
Adams
Lois
was
show.
not it. Amy Adams, I
Like everything in that movie, none of it was the actor's fault. None of it was the actor's fault.
yeah.
But especially in the Lois and Clark show, once again, my Adventures of Superman, we got different takes on the character that were very good.
Yeah.
And I am like watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I'm like, she can make a very good Lois Lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
All right.
I did. So not much has been revealed about the next Batman movie. But Matt Reeves did post something, and this is the most he's given us so far about the Batman. But according to him, he says that the Batman is going to dig into its epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes into places that he, Batman, couldn't even anticipate in the first one.
Okay.
Which makes me think that the Penguin might set up more corruption stories for the second Batman movie. And it might be focused less on any new or fantastical villains we might get. Like, Riddler and Joker were kind of seen laughing together in what I can only assume to be Arkham.
Yeah.
And there were rumors about us getting maybe Clayface or Professor Pig.
Or Freeze. A lot of rumors about Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, or I heard Pattinson was lobbying for Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Which you could do a lot of corruption with the Court of Owls.
Yeah, I was going to say that like the description you read me about what Matt Reeves said sounds like it almost sounds like a review of the Court of Owls saga by Scott Snyder.
Yeah, which would be cool.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think could fit. I've heard some arguments by people that you think that they should wait to do that until like maybe like a third movie.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy enough to see it, and I think that the people who made the first Batman movie could make a great Court of Owls story.
Yeah. But I'm currently they're still in the middle of writing it.
Yeah.
So there's, I don't think, it's supposed to release, I think,
2020, 2026 or 2027.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think it's 2026. I
Okay.
don't think it's supposed to hit this year
Yeah.
or next year. But, because they're still very deep in the writing process. But anyways, up next.
Oh, I do have one more thing to say
Go ahead.
about to say about the Batman 2, because maybe this is I'm just putting this into the universe. Both of our favorite Batman villain is Man-Bat.
Yeah, no, I had a huge
So
Man-Bat obsession.
I hope Man-Bat is in that.
Yeah.
There's like some of like my favorite stories are Man-Bat. I hope Man-Bat's in that.
Yeah.
I think that could work very well if you want to transition that universe to if you want to start exploring the more fantastical, the more Gotham aspects of that. I think Batman's the way to go.
I mean, we haven't seen a live-action Man-Bat.
We haven't seen a live-action Man-Bat, and he's just the coolest, and he has so much pathos.
Yeah. No, and when you've got like the freak accident that made Kirk, or it wasn't so much freak accident. It was.
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes
it's just
purpose.
it's the it's something that I think Gotham doesn't need it. I need it. I need to see a Man-Bat.
Yeah. Like a high budget Man-Bat would be my dream.
And terrifying too.
Yes, it
That would
can
be
very
so
scary.
scary.
Especially like with it set in October and everything.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
it
perfect
being
like
released in October.
Halloween type thing. But next up we've got Beetlejuice, which is there's like early previews tonight to see it. It's currently sitting at a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is respectable.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine sitting at a 79, so I got that over Beetlejuice. But I really need to go see the first one again. It's been a while since I've seen the first one, and I watched the first one not too long ago, like for the first time. I was very late to the Beetlejuice train, which is crazy because I'm such a fan of the horror, and especially like Tim Burton's work. It took me longer than I had hoped for, but it looks amazing. So
yeah, I saw the trailers. That looks good. I mean, I think Winona Ryder's a good actor. I think Jenna Ortega is very good at the Jenna Ortega character, which it seems like she's doing again.
The dark, brooding emo.
Yeah,
character.
And it's very fun. It's a very fun character that she does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it. I saw Beetlejuice as a kid. I'm not. Maybe I'll rewatch the original one if I can if it's free somewhere.
Yeah.
But if not, I'll just watch the sequel.
I think I've got Beetlejuice at my place. If you wanna.
I might have to. It depends. I've been very busy this week.
But anyways, we last weekend decided to binge watch the first two Venom movies in anticipation for what's coming up next month.
Yes.
And
which
you had thoughts.
Okay, so I've seen. I've read some Venom stories, but I know a lot of it. I've seen the first Venom movie.
Yeah.
I watched it around when it came out. The second Venom movie happened, and I was in the phase where I wasn't I wasn't for about a year. I wasn't as keen to see it. I was I've got to see everything in theaters.
Right.
So I didn't see it. Because I wasn't a big fan of the Venom of the movies. I do think those movies are fun. I don't
definitely the best thing to come out of Sony's cinematic universe.
If we're gonna call it that, it's probably not even a cinematic. Is it who knows? Who knows?
It's more like a cinematic nut house.
Of all of the Spider-Man adjacent live action stuff, I have to clarify.
These are the
live
best.
action.
These are the best of the.
It's a low bar. I don't understand how
It's at least entertaining. Seeing Eddie and the symbiote interact with each other is the best part of both movies.
Yes, I like this I like Tom Hardy's version of Eddie Brock. I think it's very fun.
And you brought up a point when we were watching it about how if this is supposed to parallel an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like the Venom stories are usually about a relationship. It's about like a relationship, like romantic relationship or like a familiar relationship, but it's using the Venom symbiote and Eddie Brock or whoever else is the host of it. It's usually Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
As like the metaphor, and they do a lot of times when I was watching it, because like Eddie and his symbiote fight in the second one, because like
they kind of go through a little bit of a breakup.
Yeah, and like, okay, there are two things. One, it's kind of played. Okay, so it is. One, you're dealing with that, and two, it's played for laugh. But the way I read it, and I think that they did a good job at this, is they like the played for laughs was how absurd the situation of
Carnage.
No, and of like the situation of like the alien is that's played for laughs, not like the pseudo gay thing.
Right.
Which I'm glad that they didn't make fun of that, because it could have been very easy.
No, it was tasteful.
But yeah, I think there's that. There are a few situations.
Did you have any other takeaways that, because you had written in your docs, like, did you have any other?
I hate the title, Let There Be Carnage. I've been very vocal about this.
Yeah. You said it should have been Maximum Carnage.
It should have been
right?
Maximum Carnage or Absolute Carnage, because those are the names of two of two Carnage events, and they're both great names.
This is where
Carnage.
I have to disagree with you, because I had briefly, disagreed with you when we were first talking about this. But like, if it's gonna be called Maximum Carnage and it's still rated PG-13, you are not showing Maximum Carnage. You are showing mediocre Carnage.
But, I think that they wanted. I think that they wanted it to be as metal as they could in Absolute Carnage or Maximum Carnage, or probably Maximum Carnage. That's my pick. Is a better. It's just cooler than Let There Be Carnage. I think Let There Be Carnage is stupid.
Right, and then it was kind of corny when it was Cletus Cassidy that said Let There Be Carnage. That was I think I leaned over to you and I'm like, roll credits after you said Let There Be Carnage. So
another big thing about the Venom movies I like how they portrayed how they were set in San Francisco. And to be clear, I've never lived in San Francisco. I don't think I've ever even been. I maybe only went there. I don't know what it's like to live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I also don't know what it's like to live in New York, but a lot of movies are set in New York City, and you kind of get the New York City vibe from those movies.
Oh yeah.
It's a setting, and I do think in the Venom movies they do a good job of it not just feeling like any other city. Yes, we are in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I think I think the setting in superhero fiction is super important.
Oh yeah.
A lot of I think Gotham.
Gotham
Gotham
is the
itself is a character.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a setting and a character. If it's a setting, it can be the greatest setting ever.
Yeah.
If you look at the Batman movies.
The Batman had the prettiest Gotham I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is and you can say a lot about that setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way it just makes the movies feel so much more natural when you have a setting that works for it.
Yeah. Did you have anything else about the Venom stuff, or?
I think that's it for Venom for me. Those movies are just I like a lot of the Sony live action ones, even though
it'll be a fun trilogy to rewatch.
There's part of them that I like. I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Martin. What's his? Whoever played Uncle Ben in the Andrew Garfield movies. He was also the president in the West Wing. I think he did a great Uncle Ben. There are parts of these movies that I really like, and for instance, for Madam Web, I know you think it's the worst movie ever, which is a fair agreement. But I also think there are parts of these movies that I like, but overall I'm just meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very obvious exception, the Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse are almost perfect.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite movies ever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anyways,
Okay.
let's talk about a Minecraft movie because oh my God, I
Yeah,
showed that to you. Just
I
before
didn't
we
really know this
started.
was happening, and then we watched the trailer earlier.
Yeah, I had been aware about this, and I'd heard all the casting. Like I knew Jason Momoa was gonna be in it. I knew Jack Black was gonna be in it.
I didn't know that. That's it's so weird. Like when I saw Jason Momoa.
Well, I had first heard, like very early on, that Jason Momoa had been cast as Steve for Minecraft. I'm like, that makes sense. He's a big burly guy. You know, I can totally believe it if he starts punching a tree and wood just drops from it. Like, because I was an avid Minecraft player for
Yeah, me too.
like,
Yeah, we
a
played a lot.
long time. We would play with each other all the time over Minecraft.
Yeah.
So this movie coming out, I had so much hype about it. And I watched the trailer and that hype died so quickly. I knew that it was going to be live action.
I'm
Like I was expecting like a funny looking like human faces stretched out onto a block.
That's what you wanted?
Yeah. Like cuz like they need to make up their mind cuz in either I think I told this to a friend earlier. I'm like, you either need to make it fully pixelated where you've got the blocks and everything is blocky, or you make it completely set in like real. It's a live action movie, and you've got regular looking trees, like a creeper that just looks super scary. But they tried to go with this weird hybrid, where some of it's blocky, some of it's not. I mean, the textures are like the texture packs are what make Minecraft. But like, if you're looking at some of the blocks used, you're like, this doesn't look like Minecraft. I mean, I've seen stuff on YouTube that looks better than whatever was in this trailer. And that's just my personal opinion, but a lot of people are saying that they hope that this gets the Sonic treatment, because remember when Sonic came out and initially it looked awful, and then enough people like essentially bullied the studio into making a better looking Sonic. That's exactly what they did with this. Like I'm hoping that's what they do with this Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
Is they just bully them to the point where, you know, that they fix it. Because I'm disappointed. As a Minecraft fan, I am so disappointed in this.
I've played so much Minecraft. I don't like the idea to a Minecraft movie to me, because like the Minecraft is about like there's no set story in Minecraft. It's like you do your own thing.
I mean, you go to the Nether, you go to the end, you fight the dragon.
Like I don't understand.
You survive.
Like I was never like thinking ever. I don't think I ever had a thought while playing Minecraft, we should make this a movie. So I don't like. I'll probably see it like for this show,
right?
But otherwise, I wouldn't have to. Like
That's gonna be one of our last episodes too.
I'm not gonna be super disappointed if it's bad.
Yeah. So.
But I guess it's one of those things where it's like, I guess this might happen.
Yeah.
Real quick for to end the rest of the segment, because we are moving.
We're going a little bit over, but that's okay.
Yeah, we're going a little over. There's gonna be this is somewhat more recent news, and it's still a little bit off, but there's gonna be a Masters of the Universe movie. It's made by Amazon and MGM. That's gonna be sent. It should be released in June 2026.
Mm-hmm.
If this movie happens, I say that because this is a far time from now, and like a lot of these movies don't happen. And Masters of the Universe, if you're not aware, that's like He-Man and Shiva and Skeletor and all that stuff. So that's something that might happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
And the Joker movie.
Ooh, I'm excited. I know you don't like Joker, and we'll keep this brief.
Yes, we're gonna keep this brief.
But Joker is currently at a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't that bad, because the first Joker movie was sitting at is sitting at a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, which I think it deserves.
And that got nominated for a whole bunch of, it like did so much at the Oscars. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna see for myself. I think I'm still gonna like it, but we need to move on to Don't Change the Channel.
And we're gonna talk about that.
We'll have a Joker episode.
We're gonna have an episode that's just about Joker. Right before the Joker movie comes out. Because we have a lot of thoughts on it.
Oh yes. But anyways, Don't Change the Channel. Last week, actually, it was just after after we were done with this show. There was a 85th year of Marvel. Little teaser reel that dropped, and we got our first look at the Thunderbolts, and we got our first look at Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
Yeah.
And him in the full red suit. I mean, you just see the mask. You see the mask. He's got
Yeah.
the red eyes. He's got the horns. He's got everything. And it looks really good. Like, I also did see a brief look at the Thunderbolts 2. You know, it looks, I mean, you got, you know, you've got Yelena, it's not the Black Widow sister. She's got a hard name to pronounce.
She's either they're either just gonna call her Black Widow or White Widow. Who knows?
Right.
Yelena.
But no, I Daredevil is the show that I'm most excited for.
I haven't seen, once again, one of my biggest blind spot is the Netflix Marvel shows. I never watched those.
Which is a shame. Luke Cage and Daredevil are the best
but you also
shows.
haven't watched most of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that's
I
justifiable.
got as far as to season 4, and then I just keep dipping out every single time.
Well, it does get worse after season 4.
Okay, so I'm not missing much.
That's just my defense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Daredevil eventually. I like Daredevil. I've read some Daredevil comics. I think he works great as like a Spider-Man ancillary character, which is most of my exposure to him.
Yeah.
That they're calling it Daredevil Born Again is interesting, which is something I read. I've read that Frank Miller story, and it's almost as good as Dark Knight Returns. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is.
And just the story, just from what's been teased so far, it sounds like it's going to be a really phenomenal show, and I'm excited to see, you know, how, because this is going to be the first show that they make TVMA.
Okay.
Which is exciting because clearly they can do the rated R rating well. So I'm just excited. But speaking of TVMA shows, we've got Peacemaker, which is supposed to arrive in late 2025. I loved Peacemaker so much.
It was very fun.
One of that is also Daredevil and Peacemaker are both probably some of my favorite shows from the superhero genre. I love these shows. But we've got a new look at Peacemaker, and the whole Peacemaker timeline is really confusing because James Gunn said that they're not keeping things consistent from season 1 to season 2. I think because season 1 of Peacemaker takes place before they rebooted the DC universe.
Yeah, but they're going to keep a lot of the actors.
Right. Robert Patrick is back as the White Dragon, who was, spoiler alert, killed off at the end of the first season of Peacemaker.
How did he die again? I forget. Once again, spoilers.
Peacemaker killed him on a road. It was... And now he was because part of Peacemaker's curse, I guess, is his helmet traps the souls of the people he's killed before. So he was seeing his father, it was messing with his head and stuff. But we've also got a new look at the White Dragon, which Robert Patrick is back to play as. And in the first season of Peacemaker, this is really weird because now are there going to be two? I can't tell if this is a second season or another first season.
I assume that they're going to pretend most of the stuff happened, but maybe didn't happen in a different way. This is something DC did a couple times. The 2 times when they did a hard reboot, they've done they've done a couple soft reboots, but they and Scott Snyder wrote the Batman series from 2011 to 2020, 2016.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2011 to 2016. Before that, he was writing Detective Comics, which is also a Batman series.
Yeah.
New 52, they said, none of your stories happened, but then Scott Snyder was like, can the story I did, last year happen where, Joker got his face cut off? And they're like, sure.
Right.
So it's probably going to be something like that.
But it makes things already so confusing. I was hoping DC was going to have a really smooth, nice, clean transition, and it still seems like the beginning is going to be a little sloppy.
It's probably going to be more clean than DC Comics, because everything is. I say that with love, but I could imagine for people who aren't used to that, how that could be confusing. Or it's confusing for everyone, but I'm just used to it.
Yeah, you're. But yeah, underneath the DC Universe TV
Yeah.
show umbrella, we've got Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Which I am super excited for.
I just love the seeing some monsters
Yeah,
in
like
action.
we're gonna see DC's Frankenstein, which is great. We're gonna see Doctor Phosphorus. More Viola Davis as Amanda Waller is perfect.
The
because
Weasel is back and he is alive.
The Weasel is alive.
Which is probably because they've rebooted the DC universe.
Yeah, no, because he there's a post credit scene at the end of.
Well, yeah, but it's still a
the Suicide
reboot,
Squad.
right? Could this have been like before? What do we think?
He said this will be like this will be consistent time wise with like Superman.
See, and that's why
Woman of Tomorrow.
this is still so confusing because they're choosing to
Just don't think
ignore.
about
Yeah.
but
I
yeah, I'm
guess.
super excited to see more Viola Davis.
No, she's
Amanda
great.
Waller.
She's like she's gonna be like what Robert Downey Jr. was to Iron Man. Like I cannot see anyone else playing that cold-hearted Amanda Waller other than her.
Because this year I've read so much Amanda Waller stuff and we'll talk about this later, but she's the bad guy of the DC Comics universe right
Yeah.
now, the main one.
Yeah.
And it's just such a compelling character.
Yeah.
And from the 90s when she was created. She
yeah.
was created by John Ostrander, one of my favorite writers. And it's just such a compelling character, and it's such a great examination of like what is fascism, like how do like people gain power.
Yeah.
And I
It's
hope that
fascinating. It's
so
dark. It's fascinating.
Yeah. And John Cena as Peacemaker, he's obviously
He's so
phenomenal.
good. I usually hate it when wrestlers come over to Marvel or like any superhero type genre, but Dave Bautista did well as Drax, and I really do like John Cena as Peacemaker.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got the Penguin coming up in a couple weeks, actually. Not
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. Yeah, which is going to make for a really interesting episode because the Penguin and Agatha all along are going to be battling each other.
Yeah, and those two shows are probably going to be the majority of that episode.
Yeah, because we're going to have a lot to talk about. There's not much to report on. It's just, Oswald is currently on a quest for power in a flooded Gotham City, or at least last time we checked, it was really flooded.
And Colin Farrell is on a quest for an Emmy for an Emmy win.
Oh, for sure.
I've heard people joking and like some people reporting. I don't know how accurate this is that he agreed to be Penguin. Colin Farrell probably has like a good. It is a very interesting character that I think can be worthy of critical acclaim, especially with how good of an actor Colin Farrell is. I'm excited. And there's been so many like Salvatore Maroni and all of these different gangland characters. Probably not the right word, but from the Long Halloween and from Batman Year One.
It'll be a nice treat
we've never
for
seen
those
before.
who have like known the comics, they know the characters, but this is also going to be appealing to newer audiences just because it's
a mob story.
It's a mob story. It's kind of like if this, I haven't seen The Sopranos, but I can only assume this is probably like The Sopranos in a DC universe, so it seems, they've done a pretty good job with marketing. I've seen some very clever billboards and food trucks and stuff all around advertising for the Penguin, which makes, when there's good advertising, it means the studio believes in its product, which is always a really good sign. But anyways.
And I will say there's one, what's the cast? Sorry, there's one. I should have had this pulled up, but Kristen Melody. I'm very excited for her. She's going to be playing Sophia Falcone. I'm very excited. She's a great actor.
She's usually in comedies, isn't she?
She's usually in comedy. She was in How I Met Your Mother. She was in Palm Springs. I'm very excited for her version of that character and to see her in this universe. All right, we're going to move on to Comics Corner, so usually we're just gonna be like talking about the books of the week. But last time we talked about like what's been going on in Marvel. We're gonna real quick.
And I'm gonna let you take the wheel on this one since
Yeah.
I'm not the DC guy.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about real quick what's been happening this year over the past year. DC, they did like another like soft relaunch, in no way a reboot, of what they call Dawn of DC. A lot of new titles got number ones. Wonder Woman by Tom King is great. Joshua Williamson has been doing a great job on Superman. And then there's a big Superman Action Comics crossover called House of Brainiac that finished this summer. It was phenomenal. A very good Brainiac story, probably like my third favorite, but it's good. There's been in like all the Superman family has been explored a lot more recently, and that's great. The Nightwing run, I think it's just finishing up now. The last issue of Tom Taylor's and Bruno Redondo's Nightwing run is going to be, I think, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And I think once this finishes, you guys got to read it. It's so good. It's the best. It's if you're a fan of the Dick Grayson character of classic Robin, of Nightwing, you've got to read it. This is everything you've been wanting.
Yeah, and I see the covers you pick up, and they look
the covers are
very
amazing.
cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
There's Batman. I haven't been reading a lot of Batman, by Chip Zdarsky. I read, I've kind of been off of it for a year. I've been reading Batman and Robin, which is great. The Batman run, because I don't want to read about Batman without so much of the status quo has shifted, and this is a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
Like Alfred has been dead for like 6 years, and Jim
Alfred.
Gordon's is like not in the scene, and like so much stuff is weird and different that I'm like, and I've read a lot of Batman since Rebirth. I'm just like, I'm gonna wait until it gets back to normal, and then I'm gonna read it. And I hope I wasn't like, I like status quo shifts, but there are no classic Batman stories in which Alfred isn't there, in which Commissioner Gordon isn't in which Jim Gordon isn't commissioner.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't been reading it. Real quick, Wonder Woman's been great. Birds of Prey is probably my favorite superhero comic happening right now.
You keep pitching Birds of Prey to
It
me
is so
all
good.
the time. I gotta get
I
into
think
it
it
at
won
some
an
point.
Eisner, Kelly Thompson, and a bunch of artists, but Jordi Belair's been on cover.
Yeah.
Has been doing colors every time. A lot of different artists. This is so good. If you like Birds of Prey, even if you don't like Birds of Prey, if you don't know anything about Birds of Prey,
I need to look at the cover again.
This right here is the cover. It's phenomenal, and the second arc just wrapped up. It's gonna be coming into a new arc next month.
I mean, ever since you gave me Mr. Miracle, I'm excited to see Big Barda on the
Big
the
Barda's
cover.
there. Cassandra Cain Batgirl is great. Barbara Gordon's in it. Black Canary's great. It's a phenomenal team, both in terms of the characters in the book and the people making the book.
Yeah.
Kelly Thompson, one of my favorite writers. She's gonna be doing Absolute Wonder Woman later. Titans has been good. I'm one issue behind on that, but Tom Taylor and Titans,
Swamp Thing looks menacing.
Yeah, Titans kind of been taking the role of like the premier team in the DC universe.
Yeah.
Lately, Tom Taylor, the same person who's writing Nightwing, is writing Titans. It's very good. The art has also been phenomenal. Absolute Power. Am I missing anything first?
No, I think you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Absolute Power is the event that is happening right now in the DC universe. Mark Waid, the writer of Kingdom Come, and like one of the most famous Flash writers, and Dan Mora. If you want to like show that right there, that's the main universe. Amanda Waller, who is like the main bad guy right now, took everyone's powers away, and this isn't a spoiler. It happens in issue 1. And like it's in the promo material, and they're kind of fighting back on that, and she's like gonna try to control the world. There's been a lot of stuff happening with Amanda Waller. There's the lead-in miniseries that written by Nicole Maines was a Suicide Squad book with Dreamer in it, and it was kind of all about exploring Amanda Waller and like how she gets to her power. Absolute Power Origins is also part of that.
Okay.
And basically, we've understood over this past year that the way that Amanda Waller got to where she is that she finds out blackmail on politicians, like really bad stuff they've done, like sex trafficking and stuff like that. If they've done that, and then just like uses that as blackmail against them in order to like rise up through the ranks.
Yeah.
And she's still doing that, and that's kind of like the approach that she takes now with like the China government, or like with like Russian government, or with like Brainiac,
the most dangerous woman on the planet.
the most dangerous woman on the planet. Books of the week. This week, these were the books I read. Absolute Power #3, very good. It is a mini series. It's only 4 issues, the series. So if you just want to read the main event afterwards, you only need 4. If you don't care about tie-ins, which you shouldn't, I read them, but you shouldn't care about them. This is very good. Art's phenomenal. Birds of Prey, a great issue. A new #1, Exceptional X-Men. This is Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost's X-Men with some new characters. It's written by Eve Ewing and art by Carmen Canero. I really liked it. It was a great exploration of Kitty Pryde being like the bisexual mess we all want her to be. And kind of just like her dealing with the fallout of Krakoa, which is for 5 years they all lived on like an island in like an anarcho-communist island where they were all like safe from persecution and stuff.
Yeah.
And they could all like resurrect themselves. And that fallout, there was a big fallout from that. It didn't go well. It ended badly. Charles Xavier is in prison somewhere.
Yikes.
And it's about Kitty Pryde dealing with that. Like she's just in Chicago, bartending, trying do I want to
making a new life for herself?
Like, because like this is the first time like since the age of 13.
Yeah.
Really that she's lived
alone.
That she's not been with the X-Men aside from like those 2 years when she was in college.
Yeah,
it's been very interesting. Book of the week, like every week it comes out, is gonna be Helen of Windhorn. Issue 4 came out this week.
You love
the cover.
Helen of Windhorn.
This is the best. This is a creator-owned Dark Horse comic by Tom King, Bill Quest Everly, and Matthew Lopez on colors. Support this if you can. It is a creator-owned comic. We want more creator-owned comics. And
Dark Horse.
Yeah. It is the. I love the. I've read a lot of. I've looked at a lot of art from Bill Quest Everly. This is the best it's ever been. This gothic fantasy style is amazing. This writing is amazing. It's a little rough for some people. Like a lot of Tom King stuff, it deals with suicide at the beginning, but it's all done in a very tasteful way. So there's a little bit of content warning for that. It's just I cannot recommend this enough. It's probably going to be my book of the year at the end of the year.
Right on.
All right. Another thing that's happening now, the Valiant universe is coming back. Written by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad, 2 writers I really like, and that's going to be coming next month, I believe. All right, so we're going to move into Game Over.
All right, Game Over. I had written that there was a Batman game in the works from Matt Reeves's whole universe, and that got shut down by James Gunn. Like James Gunn took to I think Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and he's like, nah, this is not actually happening. So kind of bummed. I had to fact check myself, so I'm glad I'm not misinforming the public. But but in the realm of Fortnite right now, there was a leak about how Mephisto is going to be summoned by Dr. Doom for the Halloween event that they host all the time.
Yay.
And it's gonna be fun. I know you think Mephisto is funny and all that.
Okay, I like the concept of Mephisto is very fun to me.
Yeah.
Because, according to Marvel, he is the devil, right? But also,
but if you're doing a devil for Halloween,
but also like there are 4 different. because I can't take Mephisto seriously.
Sure.
Because there are like 4 other characters who call themselves the devil and people think are the devil.
It's
So, like,
Marvel. You can be whoever you want.
but like, and like he just like cares about stuff that doesn't matter, like Spider-Man's marriage. Like,
Right.
why would like an all-powerful being care about Spider-Man's
But yeah,
marriage?
so Mephisto is coming in. I don't know if he's just wreaking havoc all over the island, or if he's gonna be someone you up for purchase. But there are new skins that got leaked too. We're getting a Black Cat skin sometime soon, and another Iron Man skin, which is some people are losing their minds over, because if you played the original Marvel season, you got Iron Man. It was, it was a regular, it had this cool emote where you could like tap the arc reactor and the nanotech would form around you. But apparently they're doing a newer, more MCU accurate version of the suit, which is supposed to, I think, arrive somewhere mid-September,
Okay.
which will be pretty cool. Next, we've got Batman Arkham Shadow. You put that on there, didn't you? Did you put Batman
I
Arkham
thought
Shadow?
you put that on there.
Oh, okay, maybe
I
I
might
did.
have.
I played the Arkham games, and I thought all of the Arkham games were really good. I also played one of the Arkham VR games. There was a Arkham VR game where it was a very quick. You can like speed run it in less than an hour, and it's a murder mystery. You find out who killed Dick Grayson as Nightwing, and you. Spoiler alert: Batman actually killed Nightwing. Super weird.
Wait, and is that like in the unit, like the universe of like the Kevin of like the like
This
all
is
those
in the Arkham universe. Yeah.
where like Kevin Conroy voices Batman?
Yeah.
And he killed Nightwing?
He killed Nightwing. Yeah, no, it was really weird. It's super trippy too, because like the end of the game is horrifying, because you're staring in the mirror and you're in Arkham Asylum, and like it's super freaky. But there's actually one point where there's a killer croc jump scare, which still gets me every single time. But there's another Batman VR game coming out, except it's not going to be available on my PlayStation VR. I think it's only going to be available on the MetaQuest, and it looks weird, because like after Arkham Knight, the Nightfall protocol was activated, and Batman is like gone
Yeah.
for now. But now it looks like he's back, and I'm not exactly sure. Like, there was a teaser trailer that we were given a couple weeks ago, and it didn't do anything for me, especially because I'm not gonna go out of my way to get a MetaQuest to play this game.
Those are like, I don't. How much does this cost?
Too much. I mean, I haven't even tried to look at it. I just got a PSVR because it did, like, it connected easily up to my PlayStation.
Yeah.
I got to experience some games a different way, but like, I'm not going out of my way to get a MetaQuest.
Yeah, like buying a console just for a game. I'm sure there are people who will do it.
Oh, without a doubt.
But
And some people already have it, so they're like, "Woo, we'll get another Arkham Batman game." But I don't know. I'm kind of.
it's Kevin, because Kevin Conroy's been dead for a couple years.
I have no idea what they're doing. I saw some footage of just, it's set in Gotham City. I saw some rats crawling around in some alleyways, and that's about it.
If I played those games, okay, Kevin Conroy. We're gonna wrap this up real quick. The greatest ever person to act or voice act Batman.
Yeah.
Did it for all of the cartoons. He's done it for 100 different things.
Yeah.
I could not picture at the end of Batman the Animated Series if they switched to another voice actor. So I imagine there's gonna be some backlash.
Maybe, or maybe you don't even talk. Maybe if you're a Shadow, you just don't talk. It's called Arkham Shadow. Maybe you just go around and beat the crap out of people, and you're just an entity of Batman.
Maybe, who knows?
But for our next episode, we had just actually brainstormed this just before we went on air.
Yeah.
But we feel like we massively need to talk about the X-Men. Just kind of dedicating a whole episode. We'll talk about, when Fox had the X-Men. We'll kind of reflect on that before, we finally get the transition to our MCU X-Men. We'll talk about all of the happenings in the comics. I'll definitely go down the deeper hole of kind of what's been going on in, the comic realm. We've got, two different, well, we've got more than two, but we've got From the Ashes X-Men, and then we've got, what do you call it? What's the other? X-Men that you call it?
Yeah, so there's the Rise of X, and there's the Krakoan era, which is when they're all living on the anarcho communist island.
But you had a
And
name
then
for
there's
the other X-Men.
Fall of X is when they fell.
Right.
So is when like Krakoa it's not dead, but it's just sleeping somewhere.
So we're gonna be diving into that for next week for our episodes, and then in a couple of weeks we'll have Joker, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our show. Do you have any closing statements?
Thank you for watching.
Or listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. All right, have a nice week.
Have a great evening, everyone. Yeah. Later.